leave. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Carbon Conscious Construction, a Blueprint for a Greener Future webinar presented by ENERQUALITY. My name is Joanne Ferraraccio. I am the Education and Events Manager with ENERQUALITY, and we are very proud to be presenting this webinar to all of you, to a large group of our audience today. And we are going to get things kicked off this morning with a little bit about us and a little bit of housekeeping, and I will get to our entire panel in just a moment. So next slide, please. So a little bit about ENERQUALITY and what we do. We are essentially Canada's largest third-party certifier of energy efficient homes. And Energy Star homes in Canada, with over 130,000 buildings labeled to the end of 2024. As the third-party quality assurance company, we can give builders that assurance and confidence that your energy advisor, of course, is maintaining the integrity of your label. And essentially, we hold them accountable ultimately for the production, for the quality that they provide to you, and upholding that label and standard to you as a builder. So we also, of course, as you can see on the screen, we provide program administration, building certification, and of course, energy and education and custom training for a variety of programs and training courses. And we also, of course, are pleased to provide custom training and workshops to you throughout the entire year, such as the one that you're on today. And when it comes to building certification, on the next slide, you'll see that builders, of course, have the access to label with the best label that is best for their build. So of course, we work with the Energy Star label, the EnerGuide, and of course, we also have many homes that are dual labeled using both the Energy Star and Net Zero label as well. And there are a few buildings across Ontario right now that also have, that are multifamily high rise and have that special label for the Energy Star high efficiency as well. So on to our next slide before we dive in terms of this webinar. So on the next slide, please, Jack. We always are going to get into a little bit of housekeeping. I like to go over a little bit of housekeeping with everyone just to get everyone started. So everyone joining us this morning, you've all been muted for optimal experience to avoid any background noises. But we encourage not a quiet conversation. We encourage you to please ask questions. So there is a Q&A function in Zoom. Please ask your questions there. It's easy for us to monitor them and collect them there. You can ask your questions anonymously if you prefer. So that's also the great function of the Q&A. And we will likely get to all of those questions. We will do our very best to make sure there's enough time during our Q&A fireside chat near the end of the conversation today. So please also, if you have a direct question for a specific panelist, please kind of add their name to your question so that we can make sure that we address that accordingly. We are going to monitor those questions. And as I mentioned, this is one of our largest guest panels to date. So our panelists are going to come on and off camera during their time, during their segment in the conversation this morning. So before we dive into this webinar, on the next slide, I'm going to launch a bit of a poll. We always do this for all of our sessions. We always like to find out who's in the room. So our panelists cannot answer this question, but all of you who are in the room can. So if you wear more than one hat, select that. If for some reason there's a title or a role that we have not included, you're welcome to drop that into the chat or just hit the other button. But I'm going to leave this open for another couple of seconds. We like to do this rapid fire so that also our panelists understand who our audience is, and that way they can also customize the conversation for all of you as well. Okay, so I'm going to leave this open. We have over 60% of participants who've already responded to this poll. This is great. I love it. Everybody's had their morning coffee. That means that everybody's excited to answer this poll. It's not on a test, don't worry. So I'm going to close this out in 3, 2, and 1. And I can also see some answers coming into the chat, which is fantastic. So for our panelists and even for our attendees, you should be able to see the responses here to this poll. So we have a lot of architects in the room, probably about 37% are architects. We also have a number of builders, consultants. I even saw in the chat some teachers, even some tradespersons. So that is fantastic that we have even some energy advisors. So it's really fantastic to see that there is a variety in our audience too. It's not just one set. Is that right, Jack? Okay, so now that we know a little bit about who's in our room virtually, I would like to hand things over to our CEO, to ENERQUALITY CEO, Joe Vaccaro, to say a few words.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. So Joe Vaccaro, I'm serving as the CEO of ENERQUALITY, and I've been on the job for about 12 weeks. And I've been able to inherit a lot of incredible projects that ENERQUALITY has already launched and now delivering. So to this group and to this project specifically, I just want to highlight the fact that this is what partnership leadership delivers to the new housing sector. We have a group of fantastic partners who came together, saw an opportunity to work on a project that really will help, I think, in the learnings and the information for the industry now to take advantage of. So thank you to our partners for being part of this journey and being part of this opportunity. Joanne's already shared with you some of the work ENERQUALITY does, and we have plans to do more in the future, as we are proud of the investment the Ontario home builders have put into us to help bring forward a group of leadership programs and hopefully leadership training in the future. The one thing I want to say is, because Jack and the team will give you all of the good data on this piece. The one thing I want to say is that this project offered valuable insights in both the embodied and operational carbon in homes. Learned a lot about what products have in terms of carbon data and some of the gaps that now we're going to dive into and think about into the future. And the why here really is because whether you're involved in leadership programs and labeling programs, or whether you're just tracking the building code, there's more and more pressure being put on the carbon conversation. And so we took this as an opportunity to be leaders and provide some data and some guidance, practical guidance about what's possible today and what needs to be done in order to get to us to a better point in the future. So this is the approach we took on this project. ENERQUALITY remains committed to helping the industry move forward in a practical way when it comes to carbon reduction. But the last thing I want to leave you with is this, is that this is the first project. It will not be the last. We are actively thinking about what the next project is going to look like. Is it going to be a renovation? Is it going to be another new build? Is it going to be a MERB? But partnerships work when people come forward with ideas, and we can be practical about their approach. And to today's partners, again, I inherited a great group. Thank you for your leadership. And I will leave this again as my tagline for the day. This is what partnership leadership delivers to the new housing sector. We get together, we identify opportunities, and we move forward in a practical way. So thank you with all that, and I will leave it back to Joanne and the group. Have a great session. I'll be watching and looking to learn. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you for joining us. So with that, I would love to hand over to our moderator, Jack Joe. And Jack is a wonderful friend and also colleague who works with ENERQUALITY. Jack, of course, is the president and CEO of A&J Energy Consultants. Jack has been he's been in the industry since 2004. He is a master energy advisor, and he's one of our instructors as well with ENERQUALITY. And many of you, I'm sure, have worked with him and collaborated with him across many of your builds. And so Jack is going to be moderating today. And the reason why is because Jack was also, of course, the lead energy advisor on this entire project. And we were very happy to collaborate with him and, of course, collaborate with Lakeview Homes, our host site, essentially. So I'm going to hand things over to Jack to essentially run the show as we move forward here and do the rest of our introductions and take the conversation from here. So Jack, over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. I'm so honored and blessed with the opportunity to work on this project with this amazing group of people. As Joanne also knows that the three homes that I try to cherish for everything I do, I'll share that later because there's a lot of content we have to go through. So I'll put that as a hook. You take one of our next training with Inequality, then I'll explain to you what those three homes are. um, but I'm really happy to be able to work on this project because Lakeview Homes, who I'll be introducing very soon, I've been working with them since the beginning of my career, and very awesome group of people to work with as well. And when it comes to sustainability and forward thinking, they came to my mind like right away. So when Air Quality approached me, hey, we have this idea. Rose came with like, let's do this. I'm like, yeah, I have the perfect candidate for you. So that's who I'm going to be introducing next, which is Bill. So Bill, please turn on your webcam and say hi because I want people
Good
to
morning,
know.
everyone. Thank you for having us. And this project has been actually brought a lot of fun and opened up a lot of avenues for everybody. And I've been with Lakeview for over 25 years, completed a milestone of 1,000 houses. The last 10 years, we've mastered with Jack and ENERQUALITY, energy savings program as well, the net zero program. That even in this job site that we were doing, we did over 175 houses with Energy Star, and we managed to close 10 houses a week. Now we're with this net zero, so we had to step it up a bit more, and we finally got into the groove of building this. And my other background is also in a degree and master's in architecture, and I've also completed 35 platinum LEED home designs, and we're getting back to the drawing board of net zero.
That's awesome, Bill. So
Yeah, thank you.
I didn't even know he has a master's degree in architecture until we did this. So I'm really, really surprised to learn that, which is great. So I just want to give somebody some context in terms of why we're doing this event. Okay, so there's a goal. And the goal of this event is to demonstrate what's possible when builders, trades, and manufacturers collaborate early on a net zero ready project. And starting from the foundation and up, we're not just showcasing products, we're sharing practical insights, measurable results, and lessons learned from others that can apply immediately. So that's our goal. And why does this matter, right? This matters because the future of construction in Ontario and beyond, it is heading towards performance-based standards. We're gonna ask for tighter envelopes, smarter HVAC systems, and carbon conscious material choices. So by showing how this demo build hit key performance target like air tightness, right? We're gonna go below 1 air change, and the last air change that was done by Aero Barrier, we hit 0.4 air change. So that will reduce energy intensity and fewer construction delays, and we wanted to give attendees, you guys, a real world blueprint to save money, time, and stress without sacrificing quality or beauty. So that's kind of the intention. Now, what you guys should be looking for in this case is that real performance metric like air changes per hour, gigajoules per meter squares, and then install timelines. So the questions that I'll be asking will be focusing on these things. And trade coordination strategies that actually avoid costly mistakes. Also, design details that balances performance with beauty. And practical tools like blueprint manual and construction sequence tips that can be copied and adopted immediately. So this session is about solutions. We're not here to sell you products, and every takeaway is aimed to help builders build smarter today, not 10 years from now. So with that being said, Bill, I'm going to start kicking things off with a few questions. Now I have prepared a bunch of questions, which I shared with you earlier. I wanted you to pick 2 of them and just talk about it. I'm going to ask you one question, and then you can choose another question that you wanted to chat about from this list due to time constraints. So I'm going to say, why did you agree to make your build the test case? That's the first question I want to ask you. And then the second question, I wanted to just read it loud what the question is so the audience know what you're talking about, and then just give us that reason.
Well, this was, again, this net zero is the future. And we are already at Energy Star level. So this gave us the next opportunity is that we're going to concentrate a little bit more on our program, or reprogramming our language with our trades. We have all the technology. We have the technology of the new materials. Keeping in fact of the net zero program in the chart, right away, it equals reuse, resources, and we're reintroducing it back into our buildings again. Right away, EcoPact is one of those things. CamClad is another product right away. The window framings is another thing. So now we're redefining our program. What we've done out of this is that we did create, I don't know if you can see it, but we did create a blueprint superimposing the mechanical, architectural, plumbing, electrical, and we're redefining our trades. That it's so important that everyone has a very important segment into this. And at the end of this is that we're able to pull this house together, give it a sustainable, resilient product, and giving us a better footprint for the urban market. The last part is the air barrier system. We're able to, with a mechanical system, we're able to balance it all off. So it's really important that we got all this documentation together and we brought it into our own new blueprint of how each person is very important, and we got it to the next level. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that this house loves us back. It pays off for itself.
That's amazing. All right, so out of all the questions I sent to you, maybe you can share one of the ones that's most dear to your heart, and read that question out if you don't mind.
There was, how did you deal with the risks of trying so many new things? So dealing with that is the most invested time that we had to deal with, and thanks to Jack and to ENERQUALITY, is pulling all these products together. And we actually saved a lot of time by planning this at the beginning, looking at the EcoPact system, looking at Owens Corning, the mechanical, the insulation factors. How do we insulate the basement slab? How do we insulate the outside walls? How do we insulate the walls? We created a thermal break with a code board on the outside and increased the value. We still use our standard construction wall sections of an 8-inch concrete foundation. Owens Corning also attic insulation, shingles, and at the end, it's all coming together. The mechanical system, how we used a heat pumping system, and the new type of a water tank system. That was a very time-consuming product, and window detailing. How do we do this, and how do we make sure that this house becomes resilient, sustainable, and it'll pay us ourselves back? The most important part out of this is to monitor all this properly is that we hired a multidisciplinary handyman. And without this handyman going through this process, we had him in 3 different spots. And it was the most critical part during the framing aspect of it. Second part is insulation and installation of all your trades that are coming into the house, and then towards the final of the house. Those were the most critical part, and that was probably the savior. The last savior is also the technology. Also, we looked at AeroSeal. AeroSeal was actually the real true cohesive bond of this entire project that came together. And again, I cannot thank all our trades and all their technical information that came together. We're actually put it into a blueprint. Now, this blueprint later, we're thinking of it as being a vehicle to go to the bank, mortgage loans, investors, building code departments, So everybody has a true cohesive idea of where we start and where we finish. And again, without the help of Jack and his study of the consultants and inequality, it's a real learning curve. We're creating a real new culture now for this building industry. At the end of the day is that we're building outside, and we're able at a certain point in time that we could enclose this house within 4 months. And at the end of 8 months, we're the only country in the world that we're able to build a house in such a short time and give the best results of anything. And at the end, the only other weak aspect of this is probably the solar panel system. We looked at that solar panel system, and it seems too expensive for this payback at this time in product. This is where governments, I think, really have to give more incentives of being able to store it in a concrete area in the house, and also to feed it back into the system of the municipality. So that still has to be adjusted for net zero. The way
Awesome.
that energy and solar paneling system works. That's the other factor that we didn't include in here that we had to dismiss.
That's great. Bill, thank you for sharing all of that insights with us. That's a great way to kickstart this meeting. When we build a house, we have to start from the foundation, and obviously that is the first thing we're going to talk about. So that is what we're going to start next. So on this segment is the foundation segment, and you can see Jerry already hop on into this call. So I'm going to give you time to thank everybody at the end, Bill, just so that we can make sure that everybody gets to talk about their product and how they were able to provide their solution to this project. And I do acknowledge this solar issue. So Joanne, could be a next manufacturer that we invite to the next round of Discovery Homes. So for this section here, a high performance home starts where you can't even see it, the foundation. So if we get it wrong here, the rest of the envelope and mechanicals are just damage control. So let's look at how Lafarge, DuPont, and Owens Corning came together to rethink the base layer of this demo build. So first question I wanted to ask is, Jerry, Lafarge. So concrete is often seen as the constant. So what is the difference, here? What are you providing here?
Yeah, that's correct, Jack. Yeah, concrete is often seen as that never-changing constant in that construction process. It's easy to think of concrete as being just concrete, right? It arrives wet and gray. It hardens up and stays solid and gray. So a lot of people don't fully understand the possibilities that it holds. The perception is evolving. One of the biggest shifts, obviously, in recent years has been the development and the use of the low carbon concrete mixes in many building projects, large and small. Today, we do have concrete mixes with carbon reductions ranging anywhere from 30 to 90% over traditional OPC, which stands for ordinary Portland cement mix. This project, great example. I believe we were able to reduce the foundation mix, the carbon content, the carbon footprint by about 80% over traditional foundation mix. So that is a significant improvement in the industry. Like, that's not just a claim that we made. We were able to provide to this project the Type 3 EPD, which is your most accurate verification of the actual carbon content of that concrete mix. It's not just our claim. In order to be able to provide a Type 3 EPD, it's a third-party certification of the concrete plant that's supplying that concrete. So it is your most accurate. It gives you the actual amount of CO2 contributed to that mix, each cubic meter of it. In Eastern Canada, we have approximately 30 Type 3 certified plants. So a lot of availability for a low carbon mix with proper documentation available for planners and builders. Also, a lot of changes in the industry. The concrete industry realized it had to make changes. There's a lot of solutions and tools available to builders and designers to help with their projects and their designs. The Ontario Concrete Association has industry average EPDs available on their website. I highly encourage builders and designers to access that. And what they did is basically took the most used mixes across Ontario and did an average calculation of the CO2 content in those mixes from the most of the major concrete suppliers. And that's available online, and it's a very good planning tool. It even shows certain adjustments, if you made certain adjustments to your mixes, what your carbon reduction can be. So of course, also when you're targeting low carbon solutions, the higher you start to target, the more likely you're going to experience a few performance characteristic changes in the concrete. So that's where collaboration is essential. Being able to have that conversation with the designers, the builders, and even the boots on the ground contractors, so everybody understands what they're receiving on the project and how it might affect whether installation process or timelines. I think it's very, very key. But concrete's definitely changing, and it's good. The low carbon concrete industry and standards are still rapidly changing. So 6 months from now, we're going to see more. A year from now, we'll see even more incredible changes.
That's amazing. Jerry, can you just quickly, 10, 15 seconds, let us know what is your role at Lafarge and how can people reach you if they needed to ask you more about this solution that you're providing?
Sure. So I am a value-added product specialist. I basically cover all the different specialty concretes that could be used, from our low carbon to colors and high flow, high early strength. So all the additional types of mixes that over a traditional mix that you might utilize. I can be reached at jerry.betancourt@lafarge.com, or you can call your local Lafarge rep or plant and ask about these mixes, and they'd be able to put you in touch with either myself. I cover all of southwestern Ontario. We have 3 other value-added product specialists here in the Ontario area, all the way and also into the greater Montreal and Quebec area, that are able to help out with these mixes in your plans.
Great. Concrete is a big dent in the carbon industry. So thank you for doing that, and I'm really happy that you were able to share with us your product. Okay, so the next question I have is about insulation, so thermal bridging. So Joe, I see you on there. So Joe, I've been working with this man for close to 10 years now. I love his energy. So this question for you is, okay, Joe, so Joe, maybe first introduce yourself and say hi and your role and all that. And then I want you to answer this question for me. So how did you design the insulation system for thermal bridging mitigation?
Yes, good morning to everybody. And Jack, thank you very much for the introduction. Joe, Chente, I'm the technical sales manager on the demand creation side for Owens Corning Canada. I deal and service Ontario and Atlantic Canada. My role is to go out to all the builders and the designers and help them to decide which are the best products that Owens Corning has in our basket of goods, to decide which will help them to achieve their goals. I also go out and help train the contractors on some of the critical systems we have, whether it be our code board air barrier systems, which was used on this site, our radon abatement system, which was also used on this site. And it's really interesting that this is a classic example of a builder who was already at the next level. So they were at the Energy Star level, and it didn't take much to get them to the net zero because they were already using many of our products. All it took was just to take a few of our extra accessories to bring them to net zero. And this also starts right at the foundation, at the foundation walls and the slabs and under the slabs. And we know that about 1/3 of all your home heat loss comes from your uninsulated basement. So not only the walls, but the basement slab as well. So what we really want to do is separate that basement slab from the parts underground, whether it be the granular and the soils, because we know that is a huge heat sink. That is a huge thermal bridge that actually pulls all that heat energy out from your basement and just funnels it into the slab and to the soils below. There is no need for us to pump energy and heat into the slabs below. They are content at the temperature they're at. We want to now keep that basement. We want to keep it dry. We want to keep it warm. We want to keep it comfortable. So it's very easy to take our extruded polystyrene and then combine that with a few accessory products, and then we basically take and create our OC, our Owens Corning Foamular Radon Barrier Abatement System. So that's a lot of words to really provide this basement, this potentially finished basement, into a comfortable, healthy, and safe living space. So we're taking one product that has 5 attributes. So our Foamular NGX, which most of you may or may not know, through the years, the extruded polystyrene industry really has taken a nice turn and has lowered our GWP, our global warming potential, or our embodied carbon, and reduced it by over 90%. So it really has become a very green product. And this product, combined with our accessories, we create the system, the radon abatement system, has 5 attributes. It's an air barrier, it's a moisture barrier, it's a vapor barrier. We combine that, of course, with the thermal barrier, and then it's a soil gas separator, or a radon barrier. So now we've taken these huge thermal bridges, the basement walls, so the foundation walls, our foundation slab, and now we've thermally isolated them, and we've kept them separate from all that comfortable, warm energy that we're putting in there during the heating season, and we've made it a very safe and comfortable place, because, as we know, people are now restricted with the size of their living space. And it's important that we utilize all this important space for the comfort of the people who are living in the home. That's ultimately what it is. But also, some people are now looking at using this additional space as potential income in a secondary suite, or as an apartment for their children. As we say, sometimes your children move down before they move out. So we want to make sure we give them a safe space, and it may be for elderly parents who are now coming to live with them. And we want to make sure that everything that they're exposed to is safe and healthy. We know that radon is a very deadly gas that can really lead to, ultimately, death. And that's what we're trying to stop. And so this radon abatement system, it's not anything revolutionary. We're just taking a system and products that are highly durable, very robust. So when the other components are being placed upon it, it's going to withstand a lot of abuse during the installation process, and it will give you a permanent seal against those highly deadly soil gases that may radiate into the living space. So it's very important that we understand, and we use products that have been tested and have been used. We have a CCMC certification for our Foamular XPS to be used as a radon barrier. So therefore, it's highly tested, it's approved, it's been used in the field, and we're very confident. The builders are very confident. The contractors find it very easy to use, and it's very effective.
That's awesome. So I know your product has look after both the air seal, right, which is radon related, and also the thermal bridging in the basement. And Bill's gonna share a story of how warm the place is during wintertime while they're like building inside. So Joe, that was amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us. So the next presenter I wanted to ask to come on is Adrian from DuPont, because this product, Tyvek, is being used for moisture. So the question I want to ask you, Adrian, is that how did you ensure moisture wasn't trapped by all these added layers to the building?
Well, good morning, everyone. So firstly, the most important aspect of water and moisture mitigation is keeping the walls dry. The number one reason for callbacks is water damage, with most occurrences around windows and doors, specifically at the bottom corners. With the use of Tyvek and DuPont's flashing tapes, you can reduce the risk of any water infiltration in these critical areas. DuPont's Tyvek home wrap is designed with 4 critical concepts to keep the bulk water or rainwater away and from entering the wall assembly, to keep air from entering the home, reducing drafts which lead to energy loss. Tyvek is permeable, so it allows any potential moisture from the wall assembly to pass through to the exterior via vapor transmission. Tyvek is extremely durable, has superior tear strength, and has a 120-day UV protection guarantee. So DuPont flashing tapes are also designed to create that seal between Tyvek and windows and doors while allowing any potential water infiltration to escape the system. Flex wrap specifically on window sills prevents any of that bulk moisture from entering and rotting the wood sills. It's important to get the proper installation method for the specific wall and window details. And in this case, the attention to the sequence of installation was important, including the proper shingling of the home wrap, the flashing tapes, and is critical for the ultimate performance of the system.
Awesome. Adrian, so actually I'm going to invite also Joe and Jerry back on, and Bill, please turn on your webcam as well. So this question is about, it's for the audience, like how, or give me one examples where collaboration prevented an issue before it became like a costly fix. So any of you who wanted to like talk about that, and Bill, you're welcome to chat about it too. Any examples you wanted to give in this case?
Yeah, I can step in really quick on that, Jack. So when I think about it, I can point to this project as a really good example of the collaboration working. As I had mentioned a little earlier, depending on the carbon reductions you're looking for in the concrete, certain performance characteristics in that concrete can change. And it is critical that the designer, builder, and the boots on the ground, the forming contractor, in this case, NEB Forming, are aware of those potential characteristic changes. So for this mix, because of such a high carbon reduction occurred with the foundation mix, it was actually going to take an extra 2 days of curing for the wall. So traditionally in residential farming, they'll pour. Following day, they're already stripping the forms and moving on to the next one. Well, this way we had to let the forming contractor know that those forms would need to stay on about 2 days extra based on such a high level of carbon reduction. So the timing was all coordinated between Lakeview and Lafarge and the forming contractor that the pour would occur at the end of the week, and the forms were able to just stay on for the weekend, and Monday they were able to come in and strip and proceed from there. So it's important to let people know of that potential timing or schedule change is critical, so nobody finds any surprises later. Or with the cement finishers, some high carbon mixes could be a little bit more sticky. The bleed might be delayed a little bit, so it's important the finishers are aware of that. They can deal with that as long as they know in advance. You just don't want to spring it on them the day of the delivery or install.
That's amazing. Well, that's a good segue for Bill, because the next question I'm going to ask him is, how did the collaboration between Lafarge, DuPont, and Owens Corning improve efficiency on site? Please share with us.
Yeah, getting back to the net zero, Lafarge was off the charts of 80% reduction. Going back to that, yeah, the delay, and it's a true story that it was all formed up on Thursday. Friday we poured, and Monday we stripped. So as a production schedule and as a fast growing site, it's something to consider about. So to overcome all of this is that you might want to consider, how many houses you really have to do. Talk to your forming contractor. I know things are slow. You might be able to have 3 forming crews on site, and at the end of the week, you'll have at least 3 basements ready to backfill on Monday. So, or even more. It depends on the permeability and how you set up your whole site. Getting back to Joe with the code board, and the one thing about the code board, what we had done on this job site alone was that we were very specific about that. The code board had to be overlap joints. So it created another seal and another bonding. But when it came to the corners, that was another issue but Joe brought out another form of gasket that we were able to tie in and have another extra barrier between the two materials of the walls being joined together. The third option with Owens Corning is that we added extra nails and fasteners to the material this way that we know that it's a secure system. It works as a shear wall system, a well insulated system. And when it comes to the openings, again, we were very diligent about our RSOs, or rough window openings, our penetrations from our other trades, going through it. And then we brought back our DuPont product, Tyvek. They brought out at least 3 different types of flashings. One for the window, which was excellent material. It had the characteristics of being elastic. It had some sort of neoprene sort of rubber as well, or some other adhesive system. And you're able to bring in the Tyvek system going back into any perforated openings of doors and windows. Those were the most critical parts. And again, they had the lap joints, tape joints, which became very important. The most important detail that I have to stress on, and the carpenters have to learn, and the big critical factor is the corners. How are the corners being dealt with? Are they able to gift wrap the corner? Literally gift wrap, just like Christmas wrapping on the house. That corner, if the tighter it is and the better it looks, it's going to work twice as fast. Again, DuPont came out with another product, which is still in the early stages. It's called the Froth Pack. The Froth Pack was also another savior in this project as well. So we're able to go into the basement, spray foam the corners, and it created that permeability of the air filtration going into the header wraps and whatsoever. Those were all the great advantages. Now, using the system from Owens Corning to Tyvek, what ended up happening, since we're outside on the outdoor temperatures or outdoor characteristics, basically at the 3-4 month level, and going back to the building code, you already have an exterior sheathing. So which allows us to get back to our interior as well as working exterior. So if we had a delay with a bricklayer or whatsoever, I'm just giving you a case scenario, as long as the house is Tyvek now, and we're able to proceed again with our insulation, our finishing schedule, and our drywall and tiling, etc. So also the other factor is that we're building during the winter time. It really controls the amount of heat loss in the building and coldness entering into the building. You'll walk into the house and you'll see guys with t-shirts during the winter because they notice that there is a big difference of the climate that's inside. The last point is that you're climatizing the house earlier by using this system. I'm not trying to sell the system, I'm just giving you the actual reality that you're up at this next level. And once you're getting into net zeros, that your house is going to climatize twice as fast as traditional construction without even going to Energy Star.
Awesome.
So thank you to all.
Okay, so I just want the audience to know that with Lafarge, with the insulation, with Tyvek, with the air tightness, we were able to reduce the carbon emission to the payback that we have calculated. It's about 2.5 years only with all the added material. So that's the extra foam compared to the Ontario Building Code. So building energy efficiency and hitting a very quick payback on carbon is possible today. You do not have to wait 10 years from now. So thank you for the for the presenters on this segment. The next one I want to talk about is windows and walls and sidings. So for that for this section, I wanted to invite 4 people on here: Casabella, Owens Corning, Brampton Brick, and Clapmate. If you guys can please turn on your webcam. So on this segment, what we want to do is to emphasize the importance of the building envelope as the core of performance. So if the foundation with performance where it begins, the envelope is either won or lost. This part of the build had to be balanced: air tightness, durability, curb appeal, and all without adding headaches for the trees. So let's unpack how that works. So the questions I wanted to ask here is the first one is really for Bill, actually. So, how did Lakeview work through the sequence multiple exterior finishes with the trees on site?
We still go through the traditional trades that once the house is all framed, the most important is when we looked at this window, we went to a triple glazed window, which helped out in energy consumption, and also it's also PVC extrusion, which gives us a better net zero.
Awesome. So what I'm hearing is that same material, just different options of choices.
Different options, but we are being more conscientious of how everything is being installed. So we're looking at the way the flashing is with the brick layer that's coming in and the penetration, the way CamClad would, the siding would meet the next adjoining material to make sure that it's not recessed too far, that the water is always being kept on the outside. It's their number one factor. And the other thing is the siding, vinyl siding, and if we had stucco as well, the other material that we use as well.
Awesome. Okay, so I have a question for Clammy or Casabella. Was there any special handling or installation needed for the windows?
I'll take that one. From our perspective, there really wasn't anything other than we have the standard POV that we use. We have QC before the product goes out of our facility, and then on site we make sure that there's no that the product's handled carefully. There's nothing above and beyond other than our usual TLC that we provide to everyone.
Okay, awesome. Joe, for you guys, how did you ensure compatibility across all the different materials that's being used?
Yeah, that's a great a question, Jack, because the thought of the traditional way of constructing of belts and suspenders, where you have multiple products to back up other products in case there's a failure. The interesting thing is that basically the Foamular code board really is a one product that can do multiple functions. So that is the way going forward when we talk about carbon accounting. It's, yes, taking a look at the carbon for each product, but it's also saying, well, what products can do now multiple functions, so I'm eliminating carbon all the way down the road by not having to introduce multiple products. So we have the Foamular code board that is both the air barrier, it is the weather barrier, you combine it with all the flashings, and the extruded polystyrene, our Foamular NGX, is very, very much an inert product. It is compatible with many different materials out there when you're trying to complete the whole building envelope system. So therefore, it doesn't detract from any of the products. It's an excellent base in which to adhere other materials. It can withstand a lot of potential abuse as you're combining other materials, whether it be the veneer or any other materials, and it's easy to repair if there is a fracture in it. So from a compatibility standpoint, it is highly compatible with many of the materials out there, particularly now that a lot of the sealants and additives have reduced their VOCs. They become very green, waterborne, or other materials to replace those volatile organic compounds, which are really the enemy to any foam plastics. They really do not like these solvents that used to be in the material. So they've been taken out. Now they're highly compatible with the Foamular. And as I mentioned, if there is damage that's done to it, it's very easy to fix. It's highly robust, so it can take a lot of we use the word abuse, but any added labor. And I think the real key is that you're really not adding much to it once it's been installed. And I know Bill has been using this for years on many of his, almost all of his other builds. So they're, as he mentioned, their framers were already very used to using it. A few minor tweaks, and basically they were able to get to that next zero level very quickly and easily. But the key, once again, when it comes down to it, single products help to reduce the carbon emissions.
That's awesome. Thank you for that answer. Paul, I actually wanted to ask you a few more things about your windows. So, can you describe this product to us and how it relates to carbon and how they how you're marketing that to your clients?
Sure. Thank you. So, as Bill mentioned, we used our triple glaze product, and it has a very positive impact on the building envelope. It improves energy efficiency, comfort, durability, and code compliance. And here's how we do it. And here is how it's done. Provides a lower U value. The triple glazing dramatically reduces heat loss through the windows compared to double glazing. The benefit of that is less heat escapes in the winter, which helps maintain indoor climate, or indoor comfort, I should say, as well as reducing your heating demand. Also providing a low U value and low solar heat gain coefficient to help the building achieve a greater comfort zone inside the house. The second, I guess, feature or factor is it provides a reduced condensation risk. The issue we face with windows is the house is wet in the first couple of years, still drying out, and that's when most of the condensation occurs. But with triple, the interior glass stays warmer. With triple glazing, this helps reduce the condensation on the interior surfaces, and this helps protect finishes, reduces the risk of mold, and it's important for the long. Sorry. Oh,
Sorry.
it's important for the long-term durability of the envelope, and then also noise reduction. Triple glass and the larger seal spaces also improve noise reduction. So depending on where the house is located, it would reduce the outside noise. Obviously, it provides energy code compliance, which helps or exceed and supports net zero goals, which is the ultimate goal here. And it reduces the need to overcompensate elsewhere in the envelope. As an example, more wall insulation, and this helps to meet energy targets, like I said, without overcompensating elsewhere in the structure. So that's really the main features of this product and how we and how it helps with the net zero goals.
Thank you for that, Paul. So I know windows and claddings work really well together, and they have to work well together, otherwise it doesn't work. So Mark, if you could come on to it, I think I saw you earlier today.
Yep, I'm here.
Speak about your product and how it relates to this carbon and how you were able to contribute to this project.
Yeah, so we were honored and excited for the opportunity to showcase CamClad's products with this, because for a long time, PVC has had a negative sort of, I guess, a negative perception in the construction industry. So it was great to have the opportunity to demonstrate how we meet the high standards of net zero construction, along with other innovative products. So we're actually manufactured from recycled window grade PVC. So we work with window extruders. We take the offcuts from the extrusion process, repurpose it, and create CamClad from that. So that being made from PVC, it's also recyclable at the end of its life. So you get a basically a circular economy. It's full life recyclable. This lowers the carbon footprint in production to the same as an engineered wood product. So it's significantly less than metal or fiber cement alternatives as well. It's essentially the same carbon footprint as cheese production, we found out in our studies. So we do have supporting EPD and HPD documents for that. Another situation or another sort of segment that we hit would be the the durability. So this is a product that won't damage compared to other products that could be used. So again, reducing waste down the road. So we are the only PVC cladding on the market ever to achieve Miami-Dade hurricane rating. So where that applies in Canada would be high velocity wind, high impact, things like that. So it's going to be resistant to wind, hail, damage, things like that. So you won't need to replace material there as well.
That's great. That's good. That's awesome. Resiliency is definitely in the rising, and this product is definitely going to be a very hot one to use in the future because of how our climate is changing. So the next guest I want to bring on is Stefan. Stefan, if you could speak to your product about the brick. This brick looks amazing. So tell us about how you're able to help this product make our climate more resilient and some of the carbon related topics here.
Yeah, for sure, Jack. And first of all, Bill, thanks very much for having us involved with this project. We've supported your builds for a number of years, and it's greatly appreciated. The relationship is strong. Basically, you're looking at concrete stone there. We do the majority of the product on the exterior cladding is a clay brick. Clay brick is manufactured from product right out of the ground. Is processed, and if you look at a clay brick over its lifespan, meaning cradle to cradle again, it's manufactured, installed properly on homes, and that product will last theoretically hundreds of years. When that product is being taken down or a new building is being purposed or something to that effect, the product is completely recyclable. It is not put in a landfill or anything to that effect. It is actually recyclable. It can then be dug up again down the road and repurposed again into clay brick, which is extremely healthy for the environment when you think about it. It's very durable. It's fire resistant, thermal efficient. It's a natural insulator, reducing heat and cooling costs. And I think when you look at the entire envelope, this is a strong addition to helping keep this home in the position you guys have made them to offer a greener environment for your customer. It's obviously aesthetically flexible and pleasing. One person that I with Randy said, I love looking at a brick home. It's easy on the eyes, which means it's very pleasant to look at and attractive, and certainly fits into the majority of the neighborhoods and within Ontario. Another nice thing about our product is it's all made here in Ontario through the product that's sourced, the raw material that's sourced, and through the manufacturing facility. So we're very much right here beside you and your neighbors.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you for that, Stephen. Now, Bill, in 10 seconds or less, can you tell me which system that made like the biggest performance difference in if you had to rate them, like share with us.
Biggest performance I would say is putting in, well, all three of them, they all work together simultaneously. Without one another, that they don't, you can't have a beautiful home at the end. So they all have excellent merits, like the triple windows, the insulation, the CamClad as well. You don't have to go out and repaint it. The brick, you just have to go out and just spray wash it. Like, I mean, they all have their valid points. At the end of the day, it comes back to the budget of which ones you could afford and which ones is the best suited for yourself. They all have demerit points that are excellent with net zero as well.
Awesome. Okay, so I understand there's a lot of questions on cost. Those questions can be addressed later on. And I know, Jerry, lots of people ask about, cost for concrete and all that. So we're going to address these later on. Okay, so the next segment I want to talk about, now that we talk about the foundation, the building envelope, the next thing is then we focus on the HVAC system. So in this segment, I'm going to invite Lennox, Kingham, and Braun to come and talk about their product and say how their product was able to be the guts of a home, as I say, to make the home more energy efficient, more comfortable in the most cost-effective way possible, so that we can look after comfort and reduce callback. right? You can't build a quiet, comfortable, high-performance home without a smart mechanical system. So HVACs can make or break the homeowner experience. So in a net zero ready house, the need for properly designed HVAC system is deeply desirable. So the first question I have for Lennox here is, in a tight building envelope, how did you right size your heating and cooling? You know, what are some of the challenges you're facing around oversizing or low cap accuracy in this case?
Perfect.
Is Vikram,
Uh,
yes.
Very good morning, Jack, and good morning to everyone. I'm Vikram Rathil. I'm the regional sales manager at Lennox Industries within Ontario. Jack, that's first of all, we are really excited to be a part of this project with ENERQUALITY, with Lakeview Homes. A very important question, right? Right-sizing HVAC equipment involves a lot of design criteria, right? And just to determine the actual building loads. So the more than us as the manufacturer, the mechanical engineer on the project, the residential dealer on the project was involved in all of that, right? What's important is you have to then not just size the building load correctly, you have to then match the HVAC equipment properly, right, with those building loads, right? Once you select the right equipment, you can get a lot of the overall system efficiency to the highest level you possibly can. Avoid equipment cycling, right? You don't want the compressor or the blower motor on the equipment to come on and off a lot, and also take care of part load efficiencies, right? Part load performance. All equipments don't run on full loads all the time, they run on part loads. So taking care of all of that is extremely important, and it in the long run reduces operating costs and minimizes maintenance, right? I'll speak a little to our product, I think, which we used, high efficiency furnaces. And this is an interesting discussion because I've heard the word practical being used a lot, right? You can, in a HVAC system, you can go down different routes. This project went down the route of having a furnace, which about 95% of bills are using a furnace given the cost of natural gas versus electricity, right? So modern day furnaces, I think, are extremely key in new home construction today, given the advanced features you can get on them, the innovative technology that's available, and it kind of affects three different buckets, right? It affects energy efficiency, it affects comfort, like you said, for the homeowner, and overall the environmental impact, right? The furnace in this example, right? It's a high AFUE rating furnace, so majority of the fuel being used by the furnace is getting converted into heat, right? Which translates to substantial energy savings and utility bills, lower utility bills for the homeowner. It being a two-stage product, it uses less energy to produce the same amount of heat and helps in reducing greenhouse gas emissions, right? Secondly, the second bucket, the furnace comes with a variable speed blower, right? This technology allows the furnace to adjust the speed to maintain a consistent temperature, right, throughout the home, reducing temperature swings, right, which can make it uncomfortable for a homeowner. Additionally, since it is two-stage, the furnace can operate at a lower stage of heat during the mild days, right? We have a lot of shoulder seasons throughout the year. So the furnace can operate in a lower stage and then switch back to the high stage during the colder conditions, right? Lastly, our furnaces, Lennox makes a family of furnaces, right? All of our furnaces come ready with the ability to integrate with smart home systems. Very important. Mostly everyone today has some sort of a smart thermostat. Smart thermostats overall allow homeowners to control their heating systems remotely, right? Optimize energy usage, do scheduling, receive maintenance alerts. All of that you need in a modern day HVAC system, right? These integrations with smart homes ensure that the furnace operates at peak efficiency and enhances energy savings and comfort. So
Great.
overall, we really do appreciate being part of this project. And I know there were a couple of this components to this HVAC system, and we'll let us talk about those.
Okay, that's awesome. So for the audience out there, this home is not a electrified home. It is working with a furnace and an air source heat pump. So King Home was the product that is being used to satisfy that load, for the heating and cooling. So Chris, if you could come on and talk about how heat pumps are evolving so fast, and how you're able to meet the cold climate performance targets here, and give us any tips and maybe back pocket tricks that you got for innovations to reduce noise or simplifying installation.
Oh, terrific. And thank you, Jack, and good morning to everyone. We're certainly very excited to be part of the project. I want to take a step back, and it's very important to understand what we mean when we say cold climate air source heat pump. That kind of gets batted around a lot lately. I think it's important that we understand that not all heat pumps are such, right? And we know that cold climate heat pumps are designed to operate down to minus 30 degrees Celsius. And quite honestly, the cold climate heat pump testing in Canada is fairly recent, within the last, say, 15 to 20 years. King Home heat pumps, like most other manufacturer heat pumps, are tested to meet the targets set forth by ENERQUALITY, Natural Resources Canada, which define the heat pump as cold climate. And the cold climate heat pump in Canada has to meet the following minimum thresholds. And it's important that we all know this. And the first one probably is paramount, is the heat pump must have a COP, coefficient of performance, of 1.8, which in essence is 180% efficiency at minus 15 degrees Celsius, operating at a minimum 70% capacity. That's number one. It also must have an HSPF 2 rating of, I believe, 6.2 in region 5, which is probably most of the folks on this call, and a minimum SEER 2 rating of 15.2. And of course, the units must be inverter driven variable, okay, to qualify. So it's important that we really understand those things. That being said, the Lakeview project easily meets that cold climate air source heat pump threshold. So again, very happy to be part of that. You're asking about maybe innovations to reduce noise or tips and those sorts of things. I always say that today's heat pumps, they're not your dad's heat pump. And when I say that talking the heat pumps of the 1980s, right? The heat pumps today operate significantly better, based on all the advancements in technology that have taken place. So, and from very simple things, fan blade design, is one thing. The aerodynamic design of a fan blade, reducing noise, increasing air volume. Very simple, but extremely effective. And that's just gotten better and better. Compressors, very simple, wrapped in sound blankets, double sound blankets. Enclosed cabinets to lower the decibel ratings, right? Very common. Intelligent defrost is another one, right? Where, the unit's defrosting, only when necessary, versus conventional defrosting when it was using regular intervals to do defrost. Okay, so intelligent defrost is a big advancement. Wiring boards and valves on the outdoor unit for easy access. So that helps on the servicing, helps on the installation, quickens it. Portable handheld commissioning devices, which help to determine issues between communication between the indoor and outdoor units without having to, hook up all the gauges. So it is a time saver. It helps diagnose issues very, very quickly. And when you talk about the advancements that I just mentioned, and there's many more in the heat pump, but these are just a few. You look to maybe some technologies that maybe are more common in, say, the UK and Europe, that given the building code, some of the stringencies that are coming forth with the mechanical systems on building code, you'll see some of those things like solar powered air source heat pump with or without battery backup. Okay, so those things will come into play more and more, okay, as we move forward. And ultimately, I mean, Kinghome and other heat pump manufacturers are going to have to continue stepping up their game in order to remain, relevant in this space. Bottom line, it's going to have to keep evolving.
Awesome.
We've come a long way, but there's more to go.
Thank you, Chris. I'm a big fan of the air source heat pump. For the air source heat pump for this home in particular, about 30% of carbon was reduced just from this one, technology alone on the mechanical side of things with the high performance system. So having the house really, really airtight, having a really awesome mechanical system to keep it comfortable. The big one next is about ventilation. Ventilation is no longer an option in these high performance homes. So if I can bring Andrew up and talk about like how important it is to have these ventilation system installed and how you're there to ensure that indoor air quality it is maintained without any penalties.
Yeah, so thank you. Good morning, everybody. I want to thank you, ENERQUALITY, to have the opportunity to participate to this project. So for our unit, what I will say that is the kind of essential thing is that our virtual technology and our high efficiency ECM motors and our core technology combined together make sure that we optimize both air quality and efficiency. So when it comes to kind of air quality and efficiency, I think that balance is key. So our virtual technology doesn't just eliminate the balancing process during installation, but it ensures that the units stay balanced all the time. So what I mean by that is even if you ducted the bathroom through with your unit, your HRV or your ERV, or that you connected to the furnace or anything like that, our unit is able to stay balanced all the time. So you will not depressurizing or pressurizing your house. So you will be able to make sure that you bring conditioned air into your house. So when you depressuring your house or pressuring your house, you will most of the time just expel conditioned air to the outside, and or in the other case infiltrate non-conditioned air inside the house. So balance is really a key in our unit, and our ritual technology allow us to achieve that. So even if through time is one of the duct path is getting more clogged than the other, or one filter, our unit will always adjust itself to stay balanced and make sure that we don't affect the pressure balance of the house. So this is one thing, and the other thing is our high efficiency motors that allow us to reach great CFM per rack rating. So even if with the code and regulation that increasingly demand higher energy efficiency from our HRV or ERV unit. So for example, the kind of new proposal for ENERCAN for the new Energy Star standard that was increasing the amount of CFM per watt and the efficiency of our core system. So even with this increase, you can see that a couple of our units are already in Energy Star, and with the new standard that they try to implement it, we will still be Energy Star certified. So this is another thing that it's great, and it is due to our high efficiency motor and our core technology. And you always have the choice between the ERV car and the HRV car. So in the case of the ERV car, this kind of helps you to manage the humidity in your house to to be more comfortable for the customer and for the one who live in the house. So this is another very important thing, I think, that can make the customer very comfortable in the house. And you can see too that our rating on the minus 25 degrees Celsius, we try to always do it with the 30 liter per second to make sure that we accommodate the most bedroom possible, so the most house and dwelling possible. So yeah, this is kind of everything on our unit that help achieve the best efficiency and to make sure that the customer is the more comfortable as well. And we all on all our units, we all have the opportunity to put the MERV 13 filter for better quality and better filtration. And the other thing that your unit have to is we integrated two motorized dampers, so you can have a better seal and air tightness when the unit is on the standby mode and doesn't work.
Awesome.
So
Thank you, Andrew. So, okay, thank you for sharing all of that. Like, you know, a personal issue with indoor air quality, it is so important to me as a dad because one of my kids has asthma. So, seeing your system installed in a home like this, it is really awesome. Bill, if you are here, please share with us, like, you know, how did these systems compare in install time and complexity compared to like what you usually expect?
So as I mentioned earlier, we created a blueprint, and my screen picks up the drawings, but we created a whole package. So the most important part before we started the framing is that we superimposed the mechanical system. We wanted to see where all the ductwork is going. At this point in time, especially in track housing, we might do it in customs, but on this particular one, we had a little bit more time and we wanted to see what all ended up happening. So we got to see where all our duct works, all our vertical, all our plenums in the basement, and how our air returns are all working. So we superimposed them onto the architectural drawings, and we went through the details. So what ended up happening is that we ended up making some archways a little bit smaller. So what we're trying to do, our biggest thing is reduce the boxes on the outside corners of the house, especially on the interior. There's a lot of beneficials for that. You don't have to worry as much as the clamping system. There's more prep work to be done. Visually, your waste, you don't have the sight lines that you really want to have. It might affect your furniture, it might affect your drapery, your finishing stages, but it also affects the flow of the amount of CFMs that are going upstairs and about your returning, also in your air returns. So you want to have it as a balanced system. So we ended up superimposing them. We made adjustments with our architecturals. We made adjustments that we're able to put our system, our vertical pipes to the second floor in one area. And in the end, this is an amazing system because anything in this new generation that you're able to connect with your phone as an app to the furnace, or this whole system, lighting system, or your heating system and your ERV and the heat pump, I think is a real breakthrough. That's why we're seeing this whole new challenge, this whole new generation that we're coming about to. Getting back to our Lennox system, again, we talked about all the key points, the two-stage system, our heat pump system as well. This is all a great comeback. It's less energy, our energy costs versus our insulation factor. It's all being reduced. The most important part at the end, like Jack said, is the ERV. It's not an HRV, it's an ERV. So it works also to the next level of more beneficial of a healthier, more sustainable, resilient house on the interior. So you really have a healthier house, and the house is going to love you back even more than what you're putting into.
That's a beautiful sentence. So we're
Yeah.
gonna move on to the last segment, which is on the plumbing and air sealing. So in this segment, I wanted to bring out the Moen and Air Seal. If you guys could please turn on your camera. We often really obsess over insulation, cladding, and HVAC systems, but tight envelopes and smart water systems can drive just as much performance. So for this particular build, we're anticipating that the building envelope is going to be about 65 to 75% better than the Ontario Building Code. That's what we're going to estimate. And one of that is going to be on, you know, like air barrier in this case. So the first question I have for Ian, if you can come up, is that, you know, what was the leakage rate before the application and what was it after? I don't know if Ian's...
Yeah, we're good. Thanks, Jack.
How are you, man?
I think the next slide, Jack, if you go to the next slide, there's a chart there.
All right.
There you go. There.
Talk about this chart.
Thanks, Jack. So first off, thanks to Jack, Bill, and the ENERQUALITY team for putting this together. I know there was a ton of work in the background that was done. And then thanks to the 200 plus people that joined us today. I'm Ian Walker, I'm the sales manager with AeroSeal, but I specifically work with the AeroBarrier technology. And yeah, so when we arrived on site, Bill and his team did a great job. The initial leakage was 2.4 air changes. And with AeroBarrier, we were able to reduce it by 85%, bring it down to 0.4 in just about 2 hours. So really excellent result.
0.4 is amazing, man. I've used you guys a lot, but 0.4 is one of the rare numbers that we get there. So so 2 hours, you said?
Yeah, just over 2 hours, 2 hours and 7 minutes.
That's crazy. Thank you for that, man. Yeah, that put a big smile in Bill's face and my face as well. So that's really awesome. Okay, thank you, Ian. That was good, short and sweet. So the next one I want to talk about is Moen. So Jerry, if you could come up and talk about, you know, how water, being smart use of water is really important for our world and our society, because bringing water and discharging water takes a lot of energy. So can you talk a bit to us about your product and how it could save, you know, carbon?
Absolutely. From a carbon perspective, and many people, and before I get started, actually, Jack, I'd like to thank you for facilitating the discussion today, and as well to our ENERQUALITY partners and all the participants in this webinar. Many of you might be thinking, why water? And water is really our most precious resource. And so one of the things that we've done around water is to use technology, and many people who know the name Moen or the brand Moen know that's where we live every day. And we know that that provides many of the greatest experiences that we have in our homes when we're using water. However, if water's not used well and leaves the plumbing system, we can have some severe challenges. So one of the things that we've done, and I have a slide here, and I'm going to show a quick video as it relates to the installation of the device known as Flow.
Are you able to share?
I don't have, maybe it didn't start.
Sorry, Jerry, I don't know if we have the capacity to do that one, but
Okay.
Can you send me the
I'll
link
just
to include it for everybody?
in the essence of time, I think I'll just we'll use what is on the slide right here.
Awesome, thank you.
If that's okay, okay, Joanne.
Yeah, we'll share the video afterwards for sure.
Certainly. One of the things that we're using is technology to provide a smarter solution. And one of the reoccurring themes that we're hearing more and more today is that we need to adopt an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. And we're using technology to achieve that abundance mentality. So in other words, we're looking to save water as much as possible because we know that consumers are threatened by climate change, rapid urbanization, and soaring utility costs. And water is not immune from any of those issues. So we also know that Flow, the device that's installed right at the water meter, is used in real time to deliver any information to the homeowner. It's detecting leaks 24/7, as small as 1 drop per minute. So in other words, if you have a leaky toilet or a small pinhole leak behind the wall, it will tell the consumer in real time they have an issue. The device itself is using some technology, what we refer to as flow sense, and the technology is personalized. So each home is unique, and the device is using machine learning augmented by AI to derive an algorithm for how people use water. It optimizes water security and ensures that savings are made. Now, one of the key things is that on average, the average home wastes approximately 10,000 gallons of water a year, according to the EPA in the US. And approximately 10% of homes waste most of that water in a given day. So if we have a device that can alert homeowners on how they're using water in real time, that we believe can result in some significant savings on utility bills, but more importantly, can contribute to water savings over time. And that also supports our corporate initiative around Mission Moen, whereby we want to save approximately 1 trillion gallons of water by 2030, and at the same time, through manufacturing processes, recycle or repurpose approximately 2,000 tons of ocean plastic in any given year.
Jerry, that's when I saw and heard you talk about this goal when I first met you, I had that tingly feeling about how massive impact this product could do to our society. So I want to thank you for sharing that with the audiences here, because water is a scarcity in many other parts of the world. We have a lot of resource in our country, and I've traveled everywhere in the world where I've seen it's not like that in other places. So it is really amazing that with all these collaborations between different builders and manufacturers, how you guys all work together and align early in the beginning around performance, around goal setting, and most likely reducing carbon emission. This is what it takes to make this house building to high performance homes a much smoother process. So this is a render of the home. This home belongs to Bill, right? And Bill built this home with all his team, so it's a beautiful design. Now, I wanted to say that we really made a major breakthrough within the construction industry of building a net zero home, and by creating a master blueprint of reducing carbon footprint of using modern components and materials with least amount of energy towards a sustainable future. This is a home that loves you back. This is that one sentence I heard from Bill over and over again. So I want to give like the last few minutes of time to Bill and just give you a final round of thanking the manufacturers and your thoughts about this whole process and how ENERQUALITY was able to be like that catalyst to push this forward for you guys.
Yeah, thank you to all the panelists, all the guests as well. I could speak for myself and Jack and ENERQUALITY that actually we had fun, and we were always looking forward to meeting on site and to see the progress and to see what was actually going around, because we're actually building like 175 houses at the same time, and we're passing Energy Star within 10 houses a week. And then we're coming back and seeing, who's coming up next. So we were very fortunate, and I cannot thank enough that it was the learning experience and the contribution to our environment, to our company, to our homeowners, and back to even our building officials. It actually really is paying off, and we're looking forward that there's more of this to come. And thank you so much, Jack, for your insight and your staff that kept us on track and really opened up a lot of avenues for us. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Bill. That's I'm always happy to work with Lakeview Homes and ENERQUALITY. Like, you guys are the most amazing people I know on earth. So I'm just super happy that I can work with you all. So we're not able to finalize the project yet. We're not finishing the inspection. So there's more to it. So the next step on my end would be After the final inspections, I will be presenting all the data that each product was able to save in terms of carbon emission, in terms of the embodied carbon emission and operational carbon emission, and I'll send those information to Joanne. Then she could then start having another round of posting to say, hey, how each products are able to contribute to the overall, based on draft information. There was about, I'm just looking at this, my data here. There's about 34 tons of greenhouse gas emission for that was generated by the house that's built. And comparing to the building code home, we were increasing the number by about 6 tons because we have to add more material to make the home more energy efficient. However, the operational carbon for the as-built case at 0.4 air change is about 0.4 tons compared to a 3.1 ton on the reference house, the building code house. So that's about 2.7 tons per year that we're saving on the operational cost. So if you do 6.8 divided by 2.7, the payback is about 2.54 years. So after 2.5 years of you living in that home bill, you are going to start giving back to Mother Earth because you're now able to save more carbon emission than what you have produced during this build. So thank you, Lakeview Homes, for creating that. Thank you, Joanne, for making this happen. I'm going to let you finish this webinar. I know we're a little bit over time, so sorry about that. So please take on.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Number one, thank you to Jack for facilitating this whole entire conversation, for also essentially being part of this project from the beginning to now and still continuing on. Thank you so much to our panelists, to our partners who came together to make this actually happen. I know also to Lakeview Homes, thank you for being that initial builder who wanted to take the leap with us into this. So a couple of things before we tie things up. One, yes, this is recorded, so we will be sharing the recording. Two, we would really appreciate everybody's feedback. I know you get asked to do surveys all the time, but we really do appreciate your feedback. If you can take a few minutes to pull out your phone, take a picture of this QR code, it gives us an opportunity as ENERQUALITY, as a service organization, to understand what kind of information you would like to learn about, how we can improve when we're delivering these types of workshops too. It also helps our facilitators and our panelists too. When it comes to the Q&A, there was a lot of Q&A coming in, which was fantastic too. I love that it's not a quiet room in that sense. And it instilled a lot of conversation. So what we're going to be doing is, in the background, we have been collecting all of the Q&A, those that were answered and those that we didn't get to answer. And also the chat, we've captured all the chat. We're going to get it into a document. Our panelists are going to help us with answering all of your questions so that we can get that out to all of you who attended, so that you have all of that information at your fingertips in case you weren't looking at the Q&A. There were probably questions that you were thinking about that were asked. So we're going to make sure that we get those answers to you. Also the contact details for our panelists too, so that you can reach out. I saw there were a few people who wanted some specific contact details for individuals. Absolutely, that's the whole purpose too. So as a service organization, as a third-party certifier too, our role here, as Joe Vaccaro had indicated to before, is really to help bring these partnerships together and to connect our builders, our energy advisors, with these partners that we're working with, and really driving forward how we're building to a higher standard, bringing us all above building code and to higher efficiency in terms of building. So the next step, last step here, is going to be that we're going to be doing a bit of a media tour and a house tour with this home once it's ready. So there will be more news. Keep your eyes open for that. And we're also going to be looking for the next builder. Who is the next builder who would like to participate in this type of program? We think that it shouldn't just be one, there should be more. So, reach out to us here at ENERQUALITY. Let me know if you are interested, and we'll be doing more of these sessions as we move forward. So Everyone, thank you so much for sticking with us. It was fantastic to see over 200 people in the room today, in the virtual room. Fantastic to see so much engagement too on a Thursday. So thank you again, everyone, for taking the time out of your busy mornings. Our panelists, thank you so much for participating. There's going to be more. Jack, you're the host with the most. Thank you so much again. And on behalf of our team at ENERQUALITY, thank you everyone for participating, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care, guys.